the Marriage Cave.
Hello, everyone.
Let's go ahead and bring everybody on because he ain't gonna act right tonight. We're gonna go ahead and just bring everybody on. Hey y'all, what's up?
Hello.
Hello.
They got a whole new dude. Did you ain't speak? Did we ain't hear your speak? You ain't say nothing. I mean,
Oh, hey.
so this what kind of night we gonna have tonight. Lord, here we go. Here we go. What Andre had, D?
I refrain from my speech.
Okay. Well, so listen.
Bless all.
Here we go.
Okay, so we got the Bonners on, we got the Harrises, and we got the Donaldson plus Quincy. Okay,
Quincy is a Donaldson.
got the dog on the show, Jesus. We're so excited to have everybody, guys. Listen, we have had so many people to ask us when is the show coming back. They've been missing the show, and so I had to go ahead and connect to our friends and say, hey, y'all, we got to get back on the show because people are asking what's going on. And I'm excited, guys. We had a chance to go to the Marriage Cave together and have a good time. Shout out to Griffin, him and Stacy. We're not guaranteed they're gonna come on. I think he's trying to sneak and come on at a party, right? They're at Stacy's sister's party, so we're gonna see what's gonna happen with that. But in the meantime, we're happy to have everybody here. We're missing Tamaria and her husband, the deacon. Hopefully they'll pop in. Look at him shaking his head. So, guys, before we get started on the question of the night, how was the Marriage Cave? People want to know how was the experience. Let's talk about it.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was our first time going. He was skeptical. He was like, what we doing? Why we doing this? Who we going with? But when he got there and he met everybody, and I have to say that it made my heart feel good because he enjoyed himself. He enjoyed himself. He made some new friends. He shared a part of himself that he don't always share. He actually got to really minister and connect. And so it was awesome. I loved it.
Well, I'm glad he had a good time. I'm gonna say my best part is when the women beat y'all, beat the men in our songs and stuff. I'm gonna say that's the best part for me. I'm gonna say,
I just told you I got some bless all. I can breast anoint everybody if you want.
I mean, y'all listen. Even the sheriff. I mean, even the chef said we did it good. I mean, you know what I'm saying. So,
well, he worked for you, so yeah, he gonna say that.
He wanted to get paid. No. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
No,
you see, Jeremiah ain't said that yet.
He know he was good. They was just they didn't want to tell the truth.
It was like, hey,
tell the truth, shame the devil.
The men held it down.
Listen, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, man.
That's
and nothing you can do could tell them they don't win. They win everything. So
everybody knows that.
Let's keep it moving.
So what's your favorite part of the Marriage Cave? What was your favorite part?
I don't know. For me, just the interactions with everybody. I mean, I really didn't have a favorite part. I enjoyed all of it. Just interacting with people.
The bishop done a rose, baby. Look at the bishop. He here.
That's my brother.
Okay, since Andre just not come, Andre, what was your favorite part of the retreat?
What retreat?
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
Well,
oh.
I don't know. Is that a trick question?
No.
No, it's a question.
It's just a question.
Okay. My favorite part was. Give me a second. Y'all rushing my spirit.
Don't rush the spirit.
Oh my God.
Oh,
You
Jesus.
rush the spirit, the wrong spirit might come out.
Exactly.
Right.
You want the right spirit.
Here we go. Y'all cutting up already. Demetria Donaldson, what was your favorite part?
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was beating y'all butt
No.
in karaoke.
I go again.
Oh, okay, well, okay. That was it.
Yes. What was your favorite part?
Well, my favorite part was really,
You got to pray about it.
no, it's so much because I was really not expecting, I actually really came with this, man, I don't want to be here. But what I got out of it was good. Actually, when we came home, it was all right up until a week ago, right? So I mean,
He is so.
Do this tonight. We're not going to do my
We
sister
are
like
not
that.
gonna do this.
no, I'm
we're
just
not
joking.
gonna do my GG
I'm
like
just
that.
joking. It shared a lot of light on different things and different situations, and I learned that a lot of us was pretty much, especially the men, was pretty much experiencing the same thing that I was experiencing at home. So we kind of worked that out, and I felt better about it because I wasn't the only one experiencing foolishness sometimes.
Why you trying to throw us under the bus?
No, he didn't. He said foolishness.
You
Just
see,
they y'all
He trying to start a whole. Dr. Nikki,
I'm asking
Dr.
you a
Nikki,
question.
Dr. Nikki, don't walk into that. Do not
You
do
got a
that.
Jeremiah question.
Do not do that. Don't walk into that.
I enjoyed the whole thing. It was real nice.
Do not let Andre.
You met some good men, out of the event. Because I came in there just like Dre, like what is this? This is a woman thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought. Her preneur,
Right,
her cave,
right.
her awards, or her and her. So
Well, at least you have been
Equal.
learning. Strong.
I'm on him.
learner.
I ain't her. Her. But nah, I mean, if anybody's watching, if you can sign up to go, it'll be the greatest experience you ever have in your life, because it can, bring your couples together. You learn things, you experience things, and you get to beat up on your women, man. I'm telling you, for the first time, That's the only time you can beat up on them.
In the
That's
game,
the thing is, so
In the
what are you
games, it's
talking about?
clarified. Some people might
clarify that. Ain't no beating up on nobody.
Yeah, in the games I'm talking about. Competition. And then you get to laugh at Keith rolling off the track on the go-karts. So that's the fun.
See, what happened was we were driving and we turned and it set us up to be T-boned by everybody. Now those cars do not have the capability to go in reverse. So my first instinct was to get out. But then when I thought about it, as soon as I touched my seatbelt, I looked to my left and all I saw was everybody flying at me. I said, Lord, I know it ain't my time. Come on now. Come on, Lord. I know we got some more time here. Come on. And then I said, hey. And then it was like a streak of light. And I looked up and he was like diving down the stairs to come down to get us. I was like, woo.
My fault. Keep rolling off the track.
Right.
Next time, you gotta let Dr. Joe drive. All right, fellas.
But other than that, with all that said, prayer.
Yeah.
Was
Ooh,
awesome.
yeah.
Can I say something?
We having prayer with one another was awesome.
That was good.
Can't go to an event like this where we're spiritual, going in for a marriage retreat and not have prayer. but we had prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God came in and moved, which is awesome.
Mhm.
Can I say something?
Of course,
Yes,
Keith.
sir.
Okay. All right. Here's the thing, right? Last year when when I did the first one, I was in the same mindset. I was like, man, you got this thing. What is this? We'll see. I said, just keep an open mind. And I must say that it was one of the best mental, spiritual, and emotional experiences that I've ever had. It allowed me to make a connection with my wife that was beyond physical. And I encourage other couples that, everybody likes to make that physical connection, but in order for your marriage to sustain itself, you have to have a connection that's beyond physical. You must be able to connect in more than one way. And to me, making that spiritual connection with Dr. Joe, it meant the world to me. It showed me a different way how to reach her without physically touching her. But then when we connected spiritually, that meant the world to me.
Oh,
Like that. That's awesome.
Don't start. Look at you knocking over stuff. You see?
okay. So
But,
tonight,
yeah, it was good. It was good.
So tonight we want to talk about communication. How can we be better in communication with our spouses? How can we tackle the word communication? God required us to communicate as husband and wife. What tips can you give those who really are struggling with communication in their marriages? I'm gonna start off with the Bonners. Michelle and Clarence, what would be an advice you can give to communicate better?
Well, that's a good question because I'm a silent person. Yeah. And this one over here is a very outspoken person. And so when I make my point, I'm silent from that point on because I don't like screaming. So communication is, this is an issue. Now we understand each other better because I know her language, I would say. Let's say that. Use that word, language. So when she's angry, I know it. So I sat back and I said, baby, what's wrong? Oh, nothing. I know something wrong. So let's talk. That's what we do now. At the beginning, it wasn't like that. It was screaming like two dudes getting ready to box. But, God, we one thing, I say this one key thing. No matter what we went through, we continued to pray every day together. And God will break down yokes. Not me and her, but God will. And that prayer is what I believe 100% is what broke down that barrier and allowed us to communicate better.
And I would just say that, especially for somebody like me who's a thinker, when you're a thinker, oftentimes it's important to listen, right? And I had to learn to step back and listen and then say, wait, why am I talking? Because he is direct, he is solid. I had to figure out what he meant because the way he said it sometimes would trigger me, and I needed to figure out what my triggers were. And if something triggering me, why? And then I had to think about, okay, how do you want to respond to this? Because if you respond the way that you might have responded previously, it might not turn out so well. And so in terms of communication, and we just talked about this earlier today, is the key to really staying connected is to talk, to communicate, to share with each other. Okay, what is it that's going on? What do you need? What are you not getting? Because people separate when they don't communicate. And so just thinking, stepping back, waiting, and thinking about how you're going to respond to something is so important. But we've learned how to do that. And we're still learning how to do that on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's good.
Now that's really good. And I think it's all about, it's a process of learning each other roles. not only learning each other roles, but just being able to meet the person where they are. Right. I think for me and Dr. Jeremiah, I'm the big communicator, big time. I'm kind of just like Michelle. But when he says something, I listen because I understand that he will always have my best interest. Sometimes the stuff he say I don't want to hear, but I know that it's necessary, and we really need, as women, we really need to be quickly to submit to what our husbands is asking us to do. And sometimes that can be hard when you used to being by yourself. Like me, I was divorced for a long time before I married him. So I was so used to being the person who had to do everything. I was the provider, I was a mother, I was everything until I met him. And I had to start to back up. It's okay, this is his role, this is my role. Let me make sure I be submissive in the things that he need me to do. I would say for me, speaking on my end. What would you say, babe?
Well, I would say communication in general is that, we have to learn as couple from the language of the Bible. One of the biggest things I would say for men in communication, what turned them off when they feel like they're being talked to disrespectfully. And that could be tone, that could be sometimes, I deal with this a lot with men in counseling. One of the things they'll say, I feel like my wife treats me like a child. She don't communicate. She just tell me what to do. And that's they feel like that is disrespectful. And so sometimes the wife doesn't get it because they're so used to communicating at that level. See, even the tone sometimes could come off disrespectful if that makes sense. So I think that's where a lot of men struggle. I'm not a big talker. I'm just not a big talker from this standpoint. And that's sometimes a hindrance with me because I don't just like talking about things sometimes. If I have talked about something one time, I don't like having to revisit 2 or 3 times before action is done. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you're not listening. So why would I keep communicating the same thing if you're not listening? And so that's it. That's how I am. And so you might come back to me with a subject and say, well, we didn't finish this. Well, I did because I said what I thought I needed to say in that situation. I thought I brought the solution to the situation. And I'm feeling right now that the only thing need to be in the situation now is to have action. So if there's no actions, then that means you didn't listen to what I was saying, or you figured what I was saying wasn't important. And so we have to look at that. And I think the way we have to figure out how women communicate. They communicate a lot from love and tenderness and things of that nature, from the touchy feely side, things of that nature. So I think we have to learn each other from that standpoint and not allow ourselves to look at a person, I would say differently because they have a different way of communicating, if that makes sense to me.
Well, you know what, Dr. Jeremiah, though, you said something that was very important because tone, right? So for Clarence, because he has a deep voice and he's used to, he's like a manly man. He's used to giving direction and guidance and stuff like that, and from the military. And so for me, he would say stuff and I'd be like, who are you talking to?
Right.
Because it was the tone, right?
Right.
But then I had to figure out and learn his communication style. But it actually took my son to help me understand. He was like, Mommy, Clarence is a man's man. And when he say something, just pay attention. He said, don't get upset. And it was true. He didn't mean any harm by it. It's just his tone. Right. And I had to adjust to that because, I'm like, wait a minute, well, you need to temper what you're saying. You need to take that back a little bit, lower your voice, blah, 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 blah. But then it was like, but wait a minute, he's not me. That's how I communicate, because I'm paying attention to different things at different levels with different people, and everybody has a different way, but that's not him.
Right.
Right.
That's good.
And it's a learning process, and we have to allow each other to learn. We have to give each other room to learn. you know, because you don't want anybody to feel like they are being pressured to do something that they are not used to doing. And a lot of communication problems come from environment, how you were raised, you know, and so you have to take all of those years of your rearing and try to make that adjustments to say, okay, this is the way my mother and father did it. It worked for them. What we don't even really know it worked. But, you know, it wasn't, you know, a lot of the things they done wasn't right. So we have to be willing to be intellectually as well as emotionally trained to do things in different ways.
Right.
You know, normally I'm a very mild-mannered person. Normally, my whole spiritual makeup is to make peace. I don't do well with arguments. I don't do well with a lot of loud talk. You know, if I get to that level, then I'm almost at a killing level because I don't get to that level easily and very quickly. If I get to that level where I'm screaming and shouting, and then I'm at a level of anger that I can really physically hurt somebody because that's not my temperament. So I'm very mild mannered. And so that's the way I communicate, very mild mannerly. And sometimes, you know, it don't come across right, but, you know, I think Sister Bonner said something that we can't just react to what we think is happening or being said. We have to allow it to go through the thinking and spiritual process and understand the motive, because sometimes we can react to things because we perceive them the wrong way. That's the word I was looking for. We can't act off perception. We have to let things process through our spirit to so we can get some instruction from God on the motivations behind what is going on. And so what happens a lot of times, I believe in communication, and that we act off perception. We perceive what somebody's doing, or we perceive that they meant something. And normally it's not really that way.
That right there, what you just said, starts a whole lot of fights because of the perception. Instead of having the full understanding of what's going on, you perceive that something is going on. Hey, it's perceived. Oh, we finna fight because I didn't like the way you said that or did that, you know, and you don't even know the real reason a person moved or bumped into you or said something in a way. You know, I could be in a rush trying to get to the office and I said something wrong. Hey, instead of just saying, could you get out of my way? Move. Because I'm in a rush. Not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but it's at that point, I need to be moving now. And I can't use more words. Let me use less words. Move. You see, that right there can cause a fight.
Right.
One thing with me is with communication, I had to learn to evaluate self.
That's good.
You know, once you learn to evaluate self in this situation, okay, how did I do it? What did I do? You know, what did I do? Then you can understand, okay, what she did, does it really hurt me? What she said, will it really hurt me? Will it hurt me to, okay, run the bath water for her every now and then? No. Will it hurt me to do, you know, I'm just throwing out there situations, you know, but in a situation where you're getting miscommunication or arguments and stuff like that, I look at it like, is it really worth that? You know, because it could go further than the argument. You know, as the Bible said, anger is sin not, right? Right then, you're angry. And you take that further than that one spot, it can become something else. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
well, we'll want to go to the Donaldson and let you all chime in on communication. What's working? And then we'll go to the Harrison, the Harris.
Well, I think everybody should learn the best way to deal with communication is to learn the communication frequencies of others. So I do agree with that. Um, I utilize temperament skills. I took a class. Um, it was a long class, like a year, on temperaments. So I literally keep my communication based upon the temperament of the person. However, with Andre is like Dr. Jeremiah. He's not really a lot of words, and then he's straightforward like Clarence. When he said he finished with it, he done with it. And then he'll move on like Keith and just start cracking jokes. Like, dude, that is not where we're going with this. You know, and I think that's why they get along so well, because of their communication frequencies. They have so many likings in their communication frequencies that, you know, they jive very well. As far as me, I shut down when, well, I'm better. I'm getting better. I think I'm getting better. Yeah. After the marriage retreat, you know, I started doing things a little differently. You know, just watching the little things that I do or watching what I say. I agree to the fact that I can't really involve or base our communication upon just him. I have to check myself and see where I am first, so that I can take the mote of the, you know, the beam out of my eye, before I start charging at him about, you know, how he addressed things, you know, like how was my tone when I said it that made him go to another level? You know, did I bring something home with me that allowed this particular communication to come alive in my home? You know, it's just a whole lot of things that, you know, you just really need to look at before you be so judgmental about your spouse. It don't have nothing to do with being the weakest link or being the weak woman, or, you know what I mean? Because people take this stuff so far, you know, especially that word submit. Man, they take that word so far. Like, please. I often say to people, yeah, the Bible does tell us to submit, but that's the easy part. The hard part is for the man that loves his wife as Christ loved the church, and Christ loved the church. So that's a big task, you know? So with that, you got to be open to learn, and you got to be open to admit that, you know, it's you and it's not always him.
Right.
So
Right.
that's where I get
That's
from
good.
it.
Shout in on it, Andre.
I
Oh,
can't.
Bishop.
She covered it. She covered it all. I promise you, she did. She covered it all.
Great.
We there.
Nah,
You got it. You got it, man. Y'all there, right?
She covered it all. She learned a lot though during the marriage retreat. She learned a lot. She picked up a lot.
I don't like the way he said that, though. I don't like the way he said
That's
that.
he
good.
said, "Thank you, God." Thank you, Steve.
Right. Well, we all pick up a lot. You know, that's what the retreat is all about, is learning from each other. Because everybody's doing, I think everybody do some things right. And I think everybody do some things that not so right. So we learn from each other, glean, you know, iron sharpen iron. That's what it's all about. And just getting out there and having those talks and experiences to say, and the big thing, like Clarence and Dee both said, you know, the big thing is being able, the hardest thing to do is admit to yourself that you're doing something wrong. That's the hardest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because self always want to be right. Self, you know, it's you. And you want to know that you know what you're doing, right? And so that's the hardest thing, to say, hey, maybe I hadn't been doing it right. Maybe if I change and do it this way, things would be better. And so that's what life is all about, right? Everybody agree with that?
Amen.
It doesn't
Amen.
make you less of a
No personal changes.
it doesn't make you less of a person. A
Right.
lot of entrepreneurs, especially women that are in business for themselves or in corporate America, sometimes it's like, okay, why do I always have to be the one to dumb down? Why do I have to be the one to always be quiet? Sometimes your voice, sometimes when you go on mute, you can get more done when you're quiet than you can bickering and running your mouth, especially with me, because if I be quiet, then something really going on. Like, oh Lord. So
You don't want me quiet.
what'd you say?
I said that's in certain situations. That's not that don't cover everything.
Like,
sometimes it's best to be quiet, especially when you're gonna leave from 2 and jump to 10.
Yeah.
In your defense. But on the other side, if it's got something to do with marriage and you shut down, then you just out of order, because we supposed to make peace, right? We supposed to at least try, right? So when you shut down and I want to talk and you don't want to talk, and then that just makes things worse.
I agree.
You know what?
Jeremiah Jr.
I'm like Jeremiah, and I'm like,
Go ahead.
I'm a person with communication. I'm a person of I say what I need to say, and it's done with it. And I'm the type of person, if you go to yelling and all that, I tend to like shut down. Like when you calm down, then we can talk. Cause with me, I'm a more of a introvert, and I say what I mean and mean what I say. And sometimes being in the military, with Keith being in the military, when he used to be in the military, he come home with that military authority. So he had to watch how he communicate with me, because with me, I just like, you know what? I have to process stuff. It takes me a minute to process stuff. I communicate totally different, but it takes me a minute to process stuff. But I don't have the time to scream. I don't have the time to argue. So if we're going to communicate, and we have good communication skills. So with me, I'm a more of a say what I say, and that's it. Don't come barking, don't come screaming, because I shut down real quick. And we learn to know each other's frequency. And if I know that he's not in the right mood of talking or communicate, because you got to realize when it's a time and a place to do everything.
Right.
Especially in the military, do you want to come when he come home? You don't want to come at a husband time he walk in the door, do this, do that, do that. With us, in our role was, whenever time he come in the room, he take off his military gear, and we give him 5 to 10 minutes before we even discuss anything. And the kids knew that. So everybody was on the same page. Because he have to change his mindset after he leave work, being in the military for so long. What's your thing? Your turn. Go ahead.
That's good.
I like that.
In reference to communication and marriage, I'm going to make sure this wasn't said, but I've noticed what I had to do for me. I had to get out of the mindset that I won't say never wrong, but there's a 99.9% chance that I'm right. I had to get out of that mindset because and I'm going to put it out there, because I told God I'm going to be honest about me, because of course I want my marriage to work. And nobody is right 100% of the time. Nobody is.
Mm-mm.
At the same time, if you get out of the mindset that you are always right, then more likely you'll be right, because you think about you think about what you want to say, you think about how you want to say it, and you also think about your current mindset. That allows you to properly communicate with your spouse. That allows you to properly relay the message. That allows you to know what message it is you want to relay in the first place. And basically, you pick the right atmosphere to present that to your spouse. And so it encompasses everything that you all were talking about. And I had to learn that. I had to grow. I had to grow with that. I had to ask God to show me what I'm doing wrong, so and help guide me so that I can fix me. And when he did that, I'm not gonna lie, it broke me up. I had to go sit on the back porch in the cold. When I say cold, this Washington State cold. It's wintertime. It's snowing. I had to go sit outside for about 20 minutes just so I could sit there and say, okay. And I was hot. And I had to go out there and say, okay, get your mind right. And that, I know it might sound a little crazy, but that time, and I wasn't cold. I sat out there and I was hot. And I sat out there and it took that time frame. I cooled off and I was able to focus on what I was doing wrong. So, and after that is when, and I never told Josie this, but after that's when we kind of incorporated the rule of the 10-minute rule. Within the first 10 minutes of walking in the door, you got to be out your uniform. And also, what she may not be aware was that the first 10 minutes when I get home, I don't go in the house. I sit in the car. And then she said, where you at? Oh, I'm pulling up. Okay. But then after 10 minutes, I get out the car. And then within the first 10 minutes of me being in the door, I change. And that changes my entire mindset. And I think that works with any marriage, any situation, because it gives you a chance to unwind and to let go of the emotions and the mental state that you're in. You know, I think if anybody can apply it, and I think it works wonderfully. And I think that it allowed me to better communicate the message that I was trying to relate to Dr. Joe, as well as everyone else.
I think someone said, I don't know who said it, but the communicating, I think it was the right atmosphere to communicate in. So let's talk about that, because sometimes don't we think that's a problem, that we're communicating certain things, I guess, at the wrong time or in the wrong atmosphere, so to speak. You know, so we'll lead off with the Harrisons on that, since they have had a good thing about it. Because I think sometimes that's the problem. It's not, you know, that person is just not ready to deal with or to receive what is being communicated in that moment. So they have a negative reaction to it. So can we talk about that for a few minutes?
Yes, we can talk about it. You know, we are a blended family, and we have to understand that we have different personalities in our blended family. So when we are around we have adult children, and we are around our adult children, we have disagreement at some point in time. We have a disagreement. So with us, we don't really discuss a lot of things in front of them. We'll say, well, we need to talk when we get home, or we need to talk when we get in the car. So we don't really, you have to really know the place, the time, and the situation, and the environment you in, because you don't want to argue in front of public. You don't want to have a disagreement in front of everybody and thinking that you right, he right, and it all blows up in your face. And being in the public where you might embarrass him or he might embarrass you, and then y'all arguing all over again. Then it's a whole new situation you bring it to the table. So with us communicating, we always not face the argument in public. We always say, well, we need to talk when we get home, or we need to talk more on the situation, not to even talk in front of the kids or even argue in front of the grandkids. So when we as a blended family, our kids used to manipulate each of us. So when they used to try to play him against me and me against him, so we had to really get a grip of what they were trying to do, and we had to really communicate amongst each other so that we are on the same page, so it will not happen. So we had to really lay the foundation with us as well as the children. So we started having family meetings of what to expect from a blended family, if that makes sense.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I had to sit there and tell them, y'all do it again, you're gonna catch these hands. I'm just be straight up. You're gonna catch these hands. And I wear a size 12, but we ain't gonna even play. I'm just being honest. Right. I'm just telling y'all. I said, y'all got me, y'all trying to play us against each other. I'm gonna show you something. So I'm just saying. Just being honest. And it worked too. It worked.
And because he never raised any boys, I have boys and girls. So he had to really change his mindset on raising boys. Because it's different raising boys from girls.
Right.
You know, they was catching hands. They caught hands. They was catching them. I was throwing them left, right, and they was getting them all day. That's why they're on the right track now. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
That's good. That's good. Who else want to chime in on that? Creating at the right moment, communicating at the right moment.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Andre.
Go ahead.
Is he whispering?
Dr. Jeremiah said.
He is.
Well, communicating at the right time, I would say communicating at the right time is the right time.
There you go.
I mean, it's the right time because there's situations can occur, and like there was a time D and I, we were heated, and we didn't get anything accomplished because she was screaming, I was screaming. Got to call each other out our names and so on. But I just think now that if we knew then to just kind of relax and wait till later on, that's what I do now. I called out your name a few times, and then you call me. You want me to tell them what you? Okay. Okay. I just think
as Keith them said, we're gonna talk about that in the car.
Yeah. Situation. What do you say?
We're gonna talk about it in the car.
Oh yeah. I just think that if you're in a situation where that things get heated, I think you should have enough sense to just kind of cool down and revisit.
Right.
And
That's good.
and then talk about it because you can visit it, you can be in the situation and talk about it and wind up saying some things that you'll regret later.
Right.
So there's things said that I'll never forget. I know there's some things I said that she'll never forget.
I forgot.
And yeah, she said she forgot, but anyway. But you say things that you don't mean.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just think that if you kind of just chill out and just revisit, we can make some sense out of it.
Right.
That's just what I do. And I like that thing, that 10 minutes in the car. I used to do that all the time. I just get home and I just sit in the car, maybe an hour, 2 hours. When I go in the house, I take a shower, go to bed. That was before D. That's how I learned from my previous marriage on how to deal with certain situations. So, it was no reason for me to be upset, in this marriage and then just come right in the house knowing how I'm gonna react.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just, that's it. You want to add on to that?
No, I just think the right time is the right time. Like it's gotta be, the atmosphere has to be conducive to where you want to go with it. Because if you don't, you're gonna go somewhere that you don't want to go. So what I do is, y'all, when I tell y'all, if you open up my door, a bug come in, Andre act just like Dr. Nikki. Run. If you heard something go smack, it was a bug. It's just a bug. Ain't from outside.
Why you put me in it?
Because y'all do the same thing. So I think, and sometimes as ladies, we want to do it right then. And that's generally not the right atmosphere to do it in. So I agree. Right. I agree that it can go a whole nother way. And me, I can go from 0 to 12,000. So I had to learn how to control that. I did some things this week, yesterday, exactly, that I learned how to do with some people. it just wasn't the right atmosphere, and I wasn't gonna let them get me to a place that I was gonna pop off. And like people say, well, you supposed to be saved, and I just thought right then that wasn't conducive to my environment, and it was gonna make me go back to these hands, and so I just had to chill out. So
Yes, ma'am.
and so what I did is I just picked up my phone, because we got to realize, and not just in your relationship, but in every environment, I just blocked them. Like, I control that. You got to say to yourself that you control this. You control this rooted evil sometimes. You control this tongue. And so when you know that your flesh is overriding your spirit, then you just got to shut it down. Period.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's for the people in the audience. I don't know how plain you can get with that. You got to shut it down.
Right.
Just shut it down. It doesn't make no difference who. Well, he started it first. Well, she started it first. It don't matter who started first. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Just
Or
shut
call
it
Dr.
down.
Joe. I will teach you anger management control.
That's right. And come back to it later.
With the referral for free.
Because you're going to say something that you're going to regret. And you can't take words back. So,
he say that all the time. But you know what? He taught me this. Well, he didn't teach me, but he brought it to my consciousness.
I taught her. They hate to say that. You can't teach me nothing.
Make sure you get your credit. Check the box.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. But one of the things he said, baby, you should never say anything when you angry or you drunk. He said, that's when you learn what people really think.
The truth.
When they angry and when they drunk.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
That's the truth.
And I was like,
well, I don't know whether it be the truth when they be angry or drunk, but they'll say some stuff,
It's them histamines. Once them cells start to release, and you get to that testosterone, it starts saying, "Hey, I'm bad. Ain't no way you gonna hurt me, because I'm gonna hurt you." And they say whatever they want to say at that point when they mad and when they drunk. I don't drink no more, but I learned that a long time ago.
Right.
So that's when I get angry. I say what I say and say what I mean. I don't call you out your name or nothing like that whatsoever, because those are something you can't take back.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say I wish I never got with you, or I hate you, and call you all these, what you call them things. You know what I'm trying to say, them B words and all that stuff. I don't do that, because you ain't that. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
I love you. And the reason I love you, I don't want to say anything that shouldn't be there.
That's right.
Everybody ain't got that control.
Right.
God has blessed me with that a long time ago. I was an angry guy. God had to take that spirit away from me.
Ooh, me too.
And another
One thing that I
Me too.
Another reason why you got to control that conversation is when your atmosphere is not right. You could be so quick to bring up what John did and this Andre. And the thing about that is, it's something that's embedded in your spirit that you thought you had got rid of, and you really didn't. And when you don't, when you don't set the right atmosphere, it will show you what you haven't gotten rid of. You thought that you was over John, and you thought that
was over that.
And you was over that, and then you say to yourself, "Oh no, bro, you ain't gonna hurt me no more." But what you really saying in your mind is John did that, and I wish you would.
That's right.
That's what you really saying.
Ms. D.
But if you go back and you check yourself, once you get yourself in that right environment, then you could say, you know what, Andre and I have had this thing when we first got married, and we used to call it a reminder. What we used to say when you would do something that would remind me of somebody.
Let me check my receipts.
Dr. Nikki, I'm so sick of that word right there. anyway, we would say like flashback. That was our word, flashback. And so when we said flashback, we immediately set an environment or set an atmosphere that we would never we wouldn't say nothing like that again to each other. That's how we learned how to really communicate because we both came out of a crazy relationship. That's why I always say abusiveness doesn't always be from the man to the woman. Sometimes it's the woman to the man, right?
Yes.
Because I experienced this. So we always would say flashback so that he wouldn't do something to make me mad and I wouldn't do something to make him mad. And so that's how we learn how to communicate in those ways that, you know, we wouldn't have no flashbacks of the past. And so we kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it until, you know, it became a part of us and we learned each other more and more each day.
Oop, it went off.
Sorry.
Yeah, we had a flashback.
No. I have a prayer, but I have a prayer.
Oh my goodness.
Dr. Jeremiah.
I'm just messing with you. Hey, I got to take Pastor Griffin place.
Oh Lord, oh my goodness.
Griffin, now you have to take his place tonight.
Oh my God.
But that was good, D. That was good. You know, that was, Clarence, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to D, that is awesome. But I want you to clarify that for the audience about who John is.
Oh, John is my ex-husband.
Well, I'm not saying ex-husband, but that's the other man. You see, the previous relationship. But everybody in the audience didn't understand John.
We knew. You just didn't know.
I'm saying we knew. What I'm saying. John
was my ex-husband.
That's the past.
I never wanted Andre to do something that made me have a flashback.
It's the past.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. I thought other people
flashback
has timed into this as well.
Yeah, because that flashback gave me a whole attitude.
Yeah, we
and you could do something really small, like really small, that reminded me of something, and whoo,
awesome.
It would just change my whole demeanor and my whole attitude.
But I say that in learning one another, that should come a time that one should get over that.
Yeah.
You know, that should come a time because, you know, she shouldn't have to be punished because of what somebody else did to me.
Right. Exactly right.
That should come a time that, you know, you should get over that.
You have to forgive.
Well,
you have to forgive and move on.
Right. And you have to be healed because, you know, a lot of time in marriage, especially when we have cycle marriages or relationships, you know, we do come with a lot of baggage from the past, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. And then a lot of times the present spouse has to suffer from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to suffer from what someone else did to that person. That's on the man and the woman's side. And so sometimes that's why you have to have those conversations because you really, you know, I talk about that a lot from the pulpit. You know, we got to get delivered from our past.
Exactly.
Because if you still live in the past, you can't walk in your present.
That's right.
Sure you definitely can't get to your future. Because every time you try to take a step in the present, the enemy gonna use the past to keep you stagnated.
Ooh, that's good.
You know, to keep you in a situation of reaction to everything, because he know as long as you're reacting to what was, you can never act on what is. And so your marriage can never grow. You can never be healed. You can never have the stability, the loyalty, the trust. All of those things come with when you have problems in the past. And those things have to be communicated, you know. And I think they have to be communicated a lot before people get married. You know, say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I had a bad relationship. My wife was whatever, my husband was whatever, and I want to really get this out before we get married because I don't want these little triggers to ruin our marriage. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to punish you for what somebody else have done to me, and so that's that healing process. And communication help us to heal. healed too. So
But you know, we went through deliverance. Remember, we went through deliverance together. So a lot of stuff that was in us in a coming out with, for me, I can't speak for what came out of him, but for me, a lot of resentment, anger, bitter rejection came out of me when him and I decided to do deliverance together. So a lot of stuff came up that I didn't even know I was even dealing with. So I recommend anybody, before you go down the aisle, walk down the aisle, please make sure you say you go through a deliverance.
right.
You know, I recommend it for anybody.
We have to have those, and that's why I do marriage counseling. Matter of fact, I'm counseling with a couple now that's going to be married in May, and those are the type of things I talk about, have them to talk about in counseling, so we can remove that before the marriage actually happens. Because when we think, if we have hurt from the past, we communicate out of that hurt.
Right.
I'd agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The situation is not going to be right because we're communicating from a place of pain. And it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just hurt, so I'm communicating from that place. And if the other spouse is really not spiritual mature to discern that and be able to allow that person to work through that, then the marriage it won't last, because you begin to take that hurt personally, as you'll take it as though they're after you, when really they're communicating the hurt that they had before you. And so we have to communicate in the sense of letting that people know what happened in the past. I'm not a past person. When I'm through with a thing, I'm just through with it. That's just who I am. If I've been in a relationship before, when I'm leave that relationship, I unpack my suitcase and leave all the baggage. I come to the next place with an empty suitcase. And that's just who I am. I don't think about it no more. I don't allow it to deal with. I just don't bring it along. And I know a lot of people's not wired like that. Sometimes it takes me a long time to be through with a thing, but when I'm through, I'm just finished with it. And ain't nothing else you can tell me about it. I'm finished. And that's just how I deal with it. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's healthy, but I just know over the years it has helped me because I don't carry what people have done to me. I just don't carry that. I don't carry that around. When I get through with it, I go leave it at the altar and let God handle it, and I keep it moving. And forgiveness is a big part of my life. I'm quick to say, "Hey, forgive me." If somebody brings some type of energy that I've done something wrong, and my wife will tell you this, whether I'm right or wrong, I don't even care, because I feel like forgiveness is my healing from the situation. And so I'm quick to say, "Hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Let's keep it moving. Let's not get stuck here." And I think that's what you have to communicate a lot of times. Sometimes you could get stuck in a situation. Mm-hmm. And just revisiting it over and over and over again with no real resolution or solution to the problem. You just revisit it over. And what happened a lot of times, and then you all can chime in on this, most of the time we don't revisit till we get angry. And then we revisit all that stuff. And we started spewing out all of those things that we've been, you have to have resolution and have to just, a place where things just say, "Hey, I am finished with this. Let's not talk about this no more. Let's move on to the next phase of our marriage." Because we're trying to grow. Marriage, we're trying to grow. Marriage, we're trying to grow in the grace and the knowledge of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And guess what? The devil don't want you to do. He don't want you to grow. Because the Bible said we become one when we get married, but there is a becoming process to be one. You just don't automatically become one. There is a becoming process to be one in the marriage process. Everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Anybody want to chime in on that?
No, all those things are all true, Dr. Jeremiah. But the other thing, I think, the enemy doesn't want marriages to succeed because
Right.
he doesn't
Exactly.
want us to grow together. He doesn't want us to be strong because when we come together, we are strong. And that's what a lot of people don't think about, right? When they come into these relationships. And it's just so important that we understand soul ties, right? We talked about that.
Right.
Soul ties, you're not bringing these soul ties along with you. And like Dr. Nikki said, that deliverance, those are things that you have to be delivered from, because if you don't, you just going to keep allowing the enemy to come in and destroy what God has created, because he brought us together and we make this covenant together. And he doesn't want to see anything that God has put together survive. And so we have to remember why we're together, but then also acknowledge that we have work to do, but then not let the enemy come in and destroy what God has put together.
Right. Right. Well, that brings a question. How do you know you're delivered from soul ties? How do you really know you have been cut, that soul tie been cut off?
When it doesn't bother you when you see it again.
That's it.
Okay, that's it. That's the answer I was looking for.
That's it.
When you can face it with no emotional reaction to it.
That's right.
Then you know you've been delivered. I remember one time I was counseling with a couple and they had been married 5 or 10 years or so, maybe about 10 years. And what almost destroyed their marriage was a first-time boyfriend that the wife hadn't seen in the 10 years. And so she runs into this person in a mall or something. And immediately she runs into this person, she has all these flashbacks about what used to be.
Mm.
And now she's comparing what used to be to what is.
Mm.
Mhm.
And in the fantasy that she had, that what used to be wasn't nothing like what she had. So now she's ready to leave at 80 and go to the 20.
My God.
She's ready
Man,
for what was a year-long relationship for her first love, she called it. And I had to deal with them because they, people go into religious churches and we preach a lot of religious stuff, but we don't really deal with what the warfare that we have to deal with in order to be free.
yes, right.
Because they never heard of things like soul ties, And what people don't realize, every time you connect with someone in a certain way, your soul is tied to that person. And a lot of your reactions a lot of time would come based on those things. And you think they're original reactions and emotions that you're just having in that moment. But a lot of it could come because of your experience with something or someone else.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have that stuff cut off from us spiritually and emotionally, so we can go into the next relationship with a true empty slate. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
And don't have unrealistic expectations of the person that we're entering into a relationship with. Most marriages fail, and I'm gonna say this because of years of counseling, not from infidelity. I counsel many people beyond that point, and they had happy marriage and still are married happy. Okay. Financial thing normally is a big deal, but most of it ends in divorce because of unrealistic expectations
Yes,
of the person.
yeah.
And when you have those unrealistic expectations, the bar is set so high a person can never reach it, and you're gonna be frustrated. Okay, you can't even communicate properly because your expectations are so high, and they're unrealistic.
Well, on the other hand, it can be real unrealistic, but it can also be unmet expectations as well.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah, it could be unmet because unrealistic expectations definitely gonna become unmet expectations because they're not real. They're not realistically in a situation where you can meet those expectations. I tell my wife this, and we have said this to each other before. I tell her, I say, I'm not your God. I'm not your God. I'm not everything to you. I can only be what I can be to you from a husband standpoint, but I'm not your God. And I tell her she's not my God, right? That makes sense to everybody?
Most
She
definitely.
be to me to what she can be to me as a wife, but she's not my God, okay? If we put things in the wrong perspective and have unrealistic expectations of a person, then those are, as Andre said, those are expectations that can never be met because the bar is set too high. You're telling the person you want them to be something that they literally actually can't be. You know, and you're going to be frustrated, even in your communication. You're going to be frustrated because that person can't be what you want them to be. They were never designed to be that. And so we have to make sure we have the right expectations. For those who are on with us, you have to sometimes look back. Why am I frustrated in my marriage? Is it part of that I'm having unrealistic expectation? I'm expecting something from my husband or wife that they really cannot give me. They really can't deliver to me. So we have to look at ourselves. We have to look at what we are expecting out of each other. You know, and make sure that our expectations of each other is in the proper order. We're not going to make it. Okay, it's going to be a lot of frustration. It's going to be a lot of venom spewed out through the mouth because of that pressure to be what somebody wants you to be that God never designed for you to be that way. Okay, now we have to make sure we communicate those things. You know what we hear a lot from the world right now. I hear this a lot from the world, probably from the church world also. You know, hear a lot of women say, "What can the man bring to the table?" You hear that. What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? You know, and they have all these expectations. I hear this all the time. You got to be making 6 figures. You got to have this. You have to have that. You have to have this. You have to have that. Okay. Are those realistic expectations for a person? Do he have the skills to make 650?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do he have the money management to become wealthy? Do he have the skills to become wealthy? Can he manage money good enough to become wealthy? So you get into a situation with all these expectations, but the person that you're entering into it with might not even have the skills to become what you're expecting them to become. Right? That makes sense to everybody. So we have to communicate these things ahead of time.
Why is that so?
And not wait till we get into the marriage to start communicating these things.
Why is it that some people think it's okay to keep contact with what used to be priority to new? What can they have to talk about when they couldn't talk when they was together, and all the talking after the fact and keep them together when they were together? I never understood that.
Okay, pretty much they're saying, why do people have to keep in contact with exes? That's pretty much what they're saying.
Yes.
Well, there's no reason really, unless
situation.
Yeah.
Situation, and if you have a child involved now,
right, exactly right. That would be the only reason.
Yeah.
To communicate with someone that you've been in a past relationship with.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, that's not to say you can't be cordial to a person.
Thank you.
Speak to them or something like that.
Yeah,
but
run into each other in the grocery store. Yeah.
Right, but to be on the phone with them all the time, a day and night.
No, that ain't happening.
No, that's not
That
helpful.
ain't cordial.
That's not helpful. That don't went beyond something.
That's right.
Yeah, that's getting into a new area of something that they have not really separated from each other. And they're, people can always tell you, well, we just talking. No, you're talking about something.
No.
If you're on the phone, you're talking about something. And you're probably talking about what you shouldn't be talking about.
Exactly.
That's right.
Let me tell you a lot of things that what happened with that. A lot of times, if it's a man and he talking to an ex, 9 times out of 10, and I put money on this if I was a better, 9 times out of 10, he talking to his ex about his present person.
Ooh, that's deep. I wouldn't say that, but that's deep.
He's giving him advice about a marriage. Let's just say they were married before, but you can stay married with him. But now you want to give him advice how to stay married with somebody else. That's most of the time is what is happening. Now, what else is happening in that situation? She's making sure he know all the bad thing about his present wife. All the little stuff that irritates him, she's going to magnify. Why? Because she's born back. See, we always want what we don't have. But when we have it, we don't want it. But when we have something and we lose it, we don't want nobody else to have it. That makes sense.
And that order.
That's why there's no reason to talk to an ex. Because she's gonna, even from the man perspective, if from the woman perspective, she's talking to her ex-husband all the time, and they have no reason to be talking. They don't have any children together. They don't have no reason to communicate. They just communicate. 9 times out of 10, she communicates to him about how her husband is.
A complaining one.
Yeah, and he's telling her everything that she's missing, and she actually should be with him. But I was with you and you didn't do nothing. That's why I left you in the first place. And so why would you keep that conversation? Because those conversations not going to go anywhere, but keep confusion in the marriage. Okay?
That sounds like one of them 48-hour episodes.
and that is the truth.
And that's what it'll pan out to be. I mean, that's weird. I mean, you even have to be careful and set boundaries and guidelines when you have children.
That's right.
Because you can't allow the children become a open door back into a relationship. I mean, he can't pop up at my house all the time. Well, I just come to see the children. No, you got a time. You got a time and a place.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right.
You can't just pop up. I was in the neighborhood. I just want to see my children. No,
sir, you won't see them today.
No, you won't see them today. You keep on trucking, baby.
Better keep on trucking.
You need to call and make some arrangements. You know what I'm saying? Or you coming home from work? He said I've been in the house. Well, I just stopped by to see my children. Oh no,
I don't have that at all.
No, sir, it ain't happening.
Nope.
Not here, not howling, not why.
So you have to have boundaries and communicate all that type of thing, because it can become something that would tear marriage up.
It could. And you have to be, Dr. Jeremiah is right. You have to be careful too, because if you got teenage children and they calling the teenage children trying to get information out of them, and the children telling them what's going on in your household, and you have to be really very careful with that.
Right. Yeah, you have to, because you know, when people are doing that, they are trying to gather information. You know, you have to tell your children, listen here, okay, if you have any questions to ask about us, you need to ask us.
Yep, because we had to really tell our children that, because my boys and my kids is close with their father, and he used to question them. Let me tell you one thing. When he want to ask any question, you tell him, well, I don't know, ask mama.
Right.
And shut it down right then and there. And they know that, and they learn that. So after the first 2 times, he never asks again.
Right.
Because
all you want to know is how you all doing. How keeping doing? Are they fighting any? You know, they
yeah. So I had we really
you should stay with me. You know, see, that's all they ask. They want drama. I call it drama information. They
so
want
my middle son, he'll tell me like, well, don't ask about mama and her marriage. You moved on, she moved on, so don't ask me no questions.
Right.
And that's how he had put it. So you really have to be careful.
Right. So you see, communication could go, when it comes to the family, communication has so many layers to it.
Yes.
And there have to be a lot of boundaries set, especially if you're blending families together. There have to be boundaries set. Because all of those things could cause the marriage to deteriorate and even implode over something that should have been there. The marriage can put it back up again. America can keep it real all the time. My favorite show. Thank you so much. We try to keep agree.
Okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Kay.
Well, to keep it real about it, when I talked to the gentleman, I said, look, if you got questions, I said, you can call me directly. I said, don't ask the kids nothing. Don't ask my wife nothing. You got questions, you can ask me directly. You want to know how we doing, you can call me directly. You want to talk about the kids, you can call me directly, or you can call them. Do not send them to play messenger. I said, because I'm not one to kill a messenger. I'm gonna come after the one sending the message. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was just directly upset because we communicate very well in this household. So if you got questions, just ask me. I'm right here. I'm an open book. My phone never turns off. So you don't like it, keep it to yourself. But if you want to inquire, we are here. I'm here to talk to you. You don't need to talk to my wife. You can talk to me. These are my kids too. And and needless to say, my phone never rang. And my phone has been the same for 14 years. I'm just saying.
Right.
Like he's so tough.
That's my brother. I'm just saying.
That military.
What you said, D?
That's my brother. I'm just saying. With him when he right now.
He's so silly. Okay, anybody got any questions? Any questions? This hour has definitely been far spent. Any questions? Those who are on live while they're asking questions. Today is National Black Marriage Day. Today is National Black.
I don't know. They come up with a new day every week.
Every day, yes, D, right?
Dr.
Hey.
Nikki just made that up.
Let's just say Easter.
Every day, it is. That's true.
Let's say Happy Easter Day or something. Just say
Today
Hey.
is March 26th, and if you Google it, it's Black Marriage Day. Today is March.
It's National Grits Day. Tell me something.
It's a National Grits Day. I'm gonna tell you the date now because I love this cheese. But you know what? You know, I'm gonna go to each couple. What advice can you give to someone to tell them on how to stay happy in your marriage or stay content in your marriage? You know, what advice can you give to someone?
Communication, faithfulness,
Faithfulness,
and
communication.
be able to trust.
keep your family out
your
your business.
And keep your marriage out of everybody else's business.
And on Facebook and social media.
Yep.
Club.
Pray together.
Pray together.
Pray together.
Every
You know what?
day.
Yes.
The
Every
most
day.
important thing is date.
Yes,
Don't stop dating.
exactly.
Yep.
See, I told you.
Let your husband and your wife know that you love them.
There you
Kate
go.
keeps spelling marriage wrong, but we know how to spell it. But yeah, today is Happy Marriage Day.
Don't do her like that.
I gotta mess with Kate.
Mirage.
Kate determined to put an I in marriage. That's that New Orleans talk.
But you know what? One thing that I'll say, especially about, I was just out. I catch little bitty things, right? And I was just looking at everybody's name, and you know now they put the woman name before the man name
Yes.
because they said that's how it's supposed to go. But that's a good way to get you out of order. Because if God put man first, then what makes us think that we can turn it? Don't even look right. It don't, and it's not because you so used to seeing it. It's just not right because God made him the head, right? So I would say one of those things would be, don't get married without marriage counseling, and don't let nobody marry you that ain't been married but 3 days.
That's right.
That's right. In that order.
You need somebody to get with somebody that can counsel you, that can pull out some stuff before you get to the stuff. Because if they can pull out the stuff before you get to the stuff will never come up because it'll already be out. So,
Or if it come up, you'll know how to deal
right,
with it.
and if it come up, you'll know how to deal with it.
Deal with it.
You know, and that's how you stay together. And the song say, "Loving you, whether."
Whatever you say.
in times of good or bad,
Yeah.
happy or sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't y'all try to sing that song
We
next
got
year.
we got to put it on, man. We got to put it on. Hey, Clarence and Keith, we all gonna have red jackets next year.
You know what? We gonna have some sparkles for y'all next time. That's all right.
Michelle, don't tell them about what we gonna do. We ain't gonna tell them about
I
our
ain't thinking about them. They ain't ready. They not gonna be ready.
We're gonna have full outfits, man. We're gonna get it together.
Man,
I'm
don't
telling
get
you,
mad at
Red
red
shoes. Let's go.
Andre had
somebody had told me Dr. Jeremiah was like this. Nobody could have ever told me. You couldn't twist my arm and make me even believe that Dr. Jeremiah was just so ugh. I thought he was just such this man of God, such a wonderful, awesome man of God. He is.
I am.
He said, I am.
He just
Once he don't wear that jacket that Andre had on the other night.
We're gonna be smoking red, man. We're gonna be hot red.
We're gonna beat y'all.
So that's to say, the other way that you can stay married is keep laughter in your marriage.
Amen.
That's right.
You gotta keep laughter. You gotta keep joy in your marriage. When you get through, you gotta have some fun.
That's right. Keep
Y'all
it
gotta
real.
lighten up.
Keep it real.
Right.
Y'all
Keep
be
it
so
real.
saved.
That's
Y'all get them. You know, some people they so saved they just makes me tired.
But you know what?
That's
I like to let
Ooh.
Mr. Bonner know
You gotta stay safe. We just can't be saved Sunday night. We got
Man,
compliment your spouse. Compliment your spouse.
Hey,
Say it again, Michelle.
Compliment
Go
your
ahead,
spouse.
Michelle. That's right.
That's right.
I don't have that problem.
What men got to understand, and this is the truth, we look to you guys to compliment us. Because I'm telling you now, I'm honest. If you don't compliment your spouse, somebody else will.
What that's supposed to mean?
And everybody got quiet.
What that's supposed to mean?
I'm just saying.
Pull it out, Andre.
I'm just being honest. If you don't compliment your spouse, somebody else will.
Hey, that only mean he got good taste. That's all.
And nobody
I said what I said.
Look at the community over there clapping their hands. The whole community.
Right.
Oh, no, what? Oh. Look here.
Well, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Don't leave it alone. Keep it right there. You heard what Mama Demetrius said. What she said. That's right. Mama
That
Demetrius.
order.
In that order.
We'll let Mama Demetrius slide because we don't know her that well.
Oh my.
I do know her.
But Mama Demetrius says marriage take work.
Yeah,
Right.
it does. It does. But you know,
That's our class.
it
Marriage takes work. It does.
but you
It
know,
takes
like
work.
you said though, that you can't be so holy and all of that and sanctified that you can't show affection either. You know, church people, it's like, you know, we talk about this when they're at church. It's like, are they married? Y'all hold hands. You don't see them kiss each other every now and then, just smooch. Hey, I love you. God bless me. I'm proud of my blessing. I'm happy. Come on,
That's
That's what they
right.
do.
Hey,
I
that's
still got my
right.
bell.
You still got your bell.
I still got my bell.
My
He
grandbaby
showed
got the
No, you gave it to him. Yes, you did. You gave it to him.
Do it.
my grandbaby got the bell.
You gave it to him.
Oh, Ben got the bell.
That is totally true.
That's okay. Every time he ring the bell, then make it happen.
Hey. All right.
He ain't got to say that.
See?
Because
You know
it's
what? But
already.
she does say that is totally true. Because in church, we have a small church. Our church not that big.
No.
But when we sit together and people see us laughing and he whispering in my ear and then we asking him what we whispering about. So with me, I'm a happy person because I have a happy life. And I have a beautiful and wonderful. He is so sweet. But you have to really you really have to be happy. You have to have fun in your marriage. Your marriage is not always so serious.
Mhm.
Baby.
Yeah.
You can't be so serious in your marriage that because you trying to really show your kids how to be in love.
That's right.
You try to show them how to have a really happy marriage, really be Christian, really can go to church and still be happy and still have fun in your marriage.
Yep. I agree. You know, and I'm gonna say this really quick, when I decided that I was going to, you know, accept Andre as my husband, before I decided, I was really cautious because I had a girl. And I wanted to make sure that no matter what, that he was going to treat me right because she was 4. So when she grew up, she would see what a man should look like. And that was very, very, very important to me. You know, like Andre, he cooks sometimes, we cook sometimes, but he like washing the dishes. He ain't gonna put them up, but he like washing the dishes. But that let Hannah know that marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is 100-100. I don't know who told people that it was 50-50. Marriage take 2 people. And, you know, even when we get heated or whatever, you know, we try to let her see the real side of it, you know, and then how we make up or how we apologize to each other, whatever. That's very crucial for me, especially having a girl and a young girl. That's why I think it's just crazy for these young women to have all these men over their girls. Like, where they do that at, you know? But at the end of the day, you just got to be really careful in everything that you do. And it's amazing how we're so careful about who we put our animals around, especially our dogs, but we're not as careful when who we put in front of our children. Like, that don't make sense to me. Like, I'm not gonna let everybody come to my house because I know I got one here, Millie, that may pop off at any given time. So I'm gonna keep her in the cage, right? But you can be so loose that you let anybody around your children. You know, you ain't got to be filled with the Holy Ghost to know better than that. But you know, that's another show for another time.
We show it. That's a whole show,
right? But a whole show. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, we just got to be careful in everything that we do as it relates to marriage, because it makes a difference. You know, being happy. And you know, Andre called Hannah about 15 times and told her to come here and stand right here. And she like, I'm asleep, you know, because they built that relationship. You know what I mean? And they can talk, and because we talk, she not afraid to talk to him. That's right. You know, the truth saying is, if you feed them long enough, they'll start looking like you. The man told me today, and I'm gonna be done. A man told me today, he said, your daughter look like you, but she look much more like your husband.
She sure do. I ain't lying.
She do.
I Hannah said, please don't tell my daddy
that.
For real.
But you know what? Marriage is what you make it.
Yeah.
Marriage is what you make it.
That's it.
That's true.
If you want to be water, it's gonna be water. If you want to be blood, it's gonna be blood. If you want to be holy, it's gonna be holy.
Father, help us to Jesus.
That's it.
Preach, Apostle.
Bishop.
You took the words out of my mouth.
That is not of God, Clarence. That is
That's
not
of the devil.
That's not the devil.
So I say to all of you that are listening, if you're married or if you're not married, especially if you're married, you need to get to the Marriage Cave retreat. It is one of the greatest retreats that we have ever been on as a couple, and it's not very many seats space available. So why don't you tonight, after we get off of this live, you go directly to Dr. Nikki's inbox and inbox her about the Marriage Cave. You need to come to the Marriage Cave. You've heard it from both sides. You heard the men say that they didn't think it was nothing, they didn't want to come, and now that they have tried to come to the Marriage Cave, that they have developed a friendship with friends, that they got bonds that cannot be broken. So I say to you tonight that if you would like to just move your relationship from one place to another, to move your life with your husband, with your wife to another place, and you go to another level, not just in God, but with each other, I invite you to come out to the Marriage Cave 2024. Get your ticket because it's not that many seats left.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
And it's going to be greater in 2024 than it was in 2023. So we're excited about it. Can't wait to get there. You all keep lifting it up in prayer so it could be great. You know, your own rooms, private chef, and real conversation. That's the big thing. Real conversation about marriage.
Do we have pictures we can post of the Marriage Cave on the Facebook page where people are not sleeping?
Well, I'm sorry, but those are the best pictures.
People are not.
And Candace, you better tell Jay that he better not go to sleep. I don't care how new he is. I take pictures of everybody.
Yeah, don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. You get the
I'm gonna
picture.
drink me a Red Bull or two.
Everybody fair game.
Everybody fair game.
Just make sure I have on my makeup before you take it.
We don't care nothing about no news.
At all.
Nothing. We breaks you in, right, Clarence?
The mission is to get the picture of Griffin. Everybody listen. The first person get a picture of Griffin get $150.
Man, that's gonna be on the scavenger. That's gonna be on the scavenger.
That's gonna be on the list.
I got you. Okay. I need you send my PayPal now. We good.
Your wife gonna spend your money, child.
No. I want you to send directly to me. That's why I said my PayPal.
Dr. Joe and Keith on the scavenger hunt. We sent them their money, and he ain't seen the money yet.
Nothing.
It's still sitting in the account.
That don't, just because it's sitting there don't mean I'm gonna get to touch it. I'm telling y'all. I'm telling you. I know.
It's on a rainy day.
It's a rainy day. Well, all right. We appreciate everybody for coming. I can't wait. I'm glad that Jay and Candace will be joining us next year. It's going to be life-changing. We are going to do renewal of the wedding vows, guys.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be nice. We're going horseback riding this year. We're going to the NASCAR racetrack this year.
Next year.
Next year. So we have a lot of things that's ready for next year. And I'm just honest. It's going to be a good time, a good teaching. We've already secured the home, so we're excited about that. Can't wait to see everybody. We have 18 bedrooms. It's called the King of the Mountain. It has an inside pool, so we get a chance to swim anytime we want to swim. We have an inside jacuzzi. It holds about 40 some people, but we only accepted 18 couples because we want to intimate. And we're definitely bringing back our chef and his wife. So we're excited about them coming back. So I'm excited. And that's all I have.
You ain't bringing back that raccoon, are you?
You don't gotta leave on this trip.
He was in the back. He opened the cooler like, "Where's my drink?" I'm telling you, I saw
Right.
it.
I saw God had his hand in there.
We saw him do it.
He was looking for. He was trying to.
I believe that.
Yeah.
He was trying to take he was trying to open up the
Open
pot.
that bottle, yep.
Yeah.
He was trying to open it up. He couldn't get it right.
He couldn't grip it. Yeah, he was trying to get it. Really, he went in there and pulled it out. Really, we can't make that up. Really.
Can't make that up.
That joke was funny.
Watching you run was funny.
We're gonna ask Mr. Clarence Bonner to pray us out.
We
Guys,
enjoyed you all.
we love you guys. And guys, don't forget this is every fourth Sunday, normally at 6, but we're gonna push it to 7 to get everybody to go home and get rested and get that Sunday nap in. So every fourth Sunday of the month at 7 o'clock. you'll see us here. Okay.
Clarence, make sure you pray for me because tomorrow is my day.
Yo there. Overall, we thank you and we bless you.
Yes,
We
Lord.
thank you for this gathering that you brought us.
Yes,
And
Lord.
thank you. Thank you for lifting us up. We ask that you bless all those that tuned in.
Yes, Lord.
Get something out of this, oh God, that will encourage them and push them forward in their marriage, oh God.
Yes, Lord.
In the name of Jesus. And we ask you to continue to watch over each and every last one of us, oh God, as
Yes,
we
Lord.
do your will
Yes.
in everything we do, oh God. And bless Sister D
Yes,
in
Lord.
her household. I don't
Yes,
know
Lord.
what she's doing tomorrow, but bless her.
Bless
And let
it.
your will be done in all of us.
Yes,
In
Lord.
Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Good night, everybody. Have a great week.
Don't forget to tag, share, and share the show to everybody. Put it in different marriage groups because we want to take this to a whole different level. Have a good night, guys. All right, Bishop.
Bye, guys.
All right. Good seeing y'all.